Hey guys, welcome to Food is Good. And today I'm super excited because we're going to be doing one of my favorite meals, which is salmon. And we're going to be finishing it off with rice, bacon wrapped asparagus, and strawberry shortcake. I promise you're going to love it. Stay tuned. So guys, like I said earlier, we're going to be doing strawberry shortcake. So very important, if you can find fresh strawberries, and I say fresh strawberries, there are certain times of the year where the strawberries are really good, and then there's other times of the year where, I don't know, maybe we used to get some frozen strawberries. But we were lucky, we found really huge, big strawberries. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and macerate the strawberries, which simply means cut the strawberries up, put them in a container, cover them with sugar, and then that's going to pull out any of the extra liquids. So that's what we're going to do right now. I like to go ahead and cut the green part off right here, just so I don't get any of it mixed in while I'm actually doing my chopping. I just go ahead and knock that out, get that out the way. So this is going to be really good. Guys, if you can find fresh strawberries, like I said, take advantage of it. There's so many different things you can do with strawberries. I mean, you can do chocolate covered strawberries. You can do strawberry pie. You can do all types of things, you know, with these strawberries. And they look really good, really nice and juicy. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and cut these up, cut them in half right here, and just cut them thin. You don't want to cut them thick. If you cut them thick, it's probably not going to get the results that you want, right? We're just going to cut these things right here, cut them in half, cut them down like this. You can see they're kind of real thin. I'm going to do about 5 strawberries, knock them out real quick right here. They're so juicy right now. I can see the juice actually coming off of them. Guys, like I say all the time, whenever you're chopping, make sure you keep those thumbs back because you don't want to lose something. So just cut these things up right here. I remember when I was first starting off in some of my other jobs. In one of my jobs, I used to work at this one restaurant with Shoney's. I used to work at Shoney's, guys. You know, what's it called? Big Bob, Big Bear, something like that. Something Bob, Burger Bob or something. I can't think of the name of it. But they had this big, larger than life stature outside of it. Anyway, with that said, I used to make so many strawberry pies. It was unreal. And we may cover that in one of the episodes here, but we used to make so many strawberry pies. It was unreal. When I say so many, we're probably talking about at least 300 strawberry pies on Mother's Day and Easter. So it was crazy. So got my strawberries already cut. I'm gonna go ahead and cover it with sugar. How much sugar do I need to put in there? Cover it with sugar. So we've covered it with sugar. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this sit over here next to the cake that I've already done. And we'll talk about it at a later episode, how we put the cake together. However, I will post this cake on our recipe. It's actually called a Texas sheet cake. If you're not in the mood to make that cake, you can always go to the store and pick up a Sara Lee. It's a really good product. Or pick up any type of pound cake. But when you're looking for that cake, remember you're going to put liquid on top of that cake, so you don't want it to fall apart. So the type of cake you get, I would highly recommend a pound cake. I'm not a really big fan of the spongy angel food cake. Or angel cake, whatever. I've made those before. It's really not that hard to make. You make it with egg whites versus egg yolks, or more egg whites than you do egg yolks. But I just don't like that spongy texture of it. So I prefer, if I can, make my own cake. But if not, just pick up a pound cake from the store, guys. So now that we got the cake sitting here, strawberries are sitting here doing this thing. Like I said, it's going to pull the liquid off of it. We're going to start on the next thing, which is rice. Guys, one of those things that I often talk about, rice is one of those things in the beginning that I'm telling you, it gave me a hard time. I finally had to figure out how to do it. And I'm going to talk to you about another way that we can do rice. We have our pot getting right here hot for our rice. And whenever you're making rice, it's a 2-to-1 ratio. 1 part rice, 2 part water. But what we're going to do today, we're going to make a rice pilaf. And what you're going to do with that, you're going to add a little chicken stock or chicken base in it. And notice I said base versus a bouillon cube. The bouillon cube is hard, dry, powdery, and salty. This is going to be more pasty, and you can add your water to this. It cooks up better. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't want the sodium that's found in this or a bouillon cube, you can get a low sodium chicken stock, and they sell that all day at the store. So what we're going to do now, we have that getting hot. I'm going to go ahead and put a little oil in there. This is one of the secrets I learned about rice. If you fry it up just a little, it prevents it from sticking together. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out just a little rice. It's not pretty. So we're going to measure out that rice right here. And then we're going to add it to, actually what I am going to do, I forgot a step. Guys, I like a little butter also in my rice. So I put a little oil in there. Butter is flavor. So I'm just going to add a little of that butter in there. Let that cook around just a little. Stir it up. Looks good. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and add in my 1 cup of rice. Stir it around. And I'm not trying to make rice crispy, but I do want to stir it around so the rice actually coats with the oil. And that's what's going to prevent it from sticking. If you do it this way right here, it'll come out perfect every single time. So we're doing this, we're just stirring it up right here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little of my chicken base in it. Just a little, not all of it, just a little. That's flavor right here. Because the next step I'm going to do is add a little water in it or liquid in it. So I'm going to put in 2 cups of water. 2 cups of water here. That's 1. And this is 2. So stir it up a little bit more. I'm going to let it come to a boil. And while it's coming to a boil, I'm going to go ahead and start on my bacon wrapped asparagus. Clean off the board right over here. Clean this off right here. Guys, are these not the biggest asparagus you've ever seen? These things are huge. So, pretty big asparagus here. So, I'm going to put those to the side. I've already rinsed them. This is my rinse bowl over here. So whenever you see something over here, we've already rinsed it. So I got my asparagus right here, and it's bacon wrapped asparagus. In the beginning, I used to do asparagus, and I wouldn't pre-cook or part cook the bacon. So the asparagus would be done, almost turn into mush before the bacon was done. So I got a little smarter. So what we've done is we've actually went ahead and pre-wrapped or pre-cooked the bacon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and you don't need all of this right here. We're just going to cut some of it off. So right here, you can do a lot of different things. So if I really wanted to, I can chop this up, add this to my rice. I'm not going to do it. If I want to add it to my quinoa, I can do that. But for this purpose of this right here, I'm just going to throw it to the side because this is the part I want right here. This is coming along nicely. It's boiling. Guys, I'll tell you a secret about boil. Once your rice comes to a boil, you can just sit it over to the side, put a lid on top of it. In 8 minutes, it'll be done. So I can see the rice is actually starting to come to a boil. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put a lid on top of it and just stick it over to the side, covered rather, for about 8 minutes. And it's going to finish cooking. While that's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping my asparagus with bacon. Guys, I actually went and got a thick cut bacon because, like I said, I didn't want the bacon to overcook, but I wanted it to kind of come together around the same time. So what I'm doing is I'm going ahead and I'm wrapping this bacon. And you can take, if you want to, you can take some little small toothpicks or frill picks is what we actually call them, and kind of stick it in your bacon so it'll stay on. These seem to be staying on quite nice, so I don't really have to do all that. But you can if you want to. It looks good though. So the flavor from the bacon is actually going to get inside the asparagus. That's really what we're going for. That's the purpose of doing it. Okay. Oh, looking good here. I'm gonna wrap a couple more. For some reason, I'm looking at the asparagus here, and I'm thinking about VeggieTales. I don't know why. I call it crazy, but I am. I think Bob was somebody was an asparagus on that thing. So I don't know if it was Bob or if it was Larry. I've said far too much about that. Growing up, my wife and I, as we were having kids, we used to watch VeggieTales all the time. And if you don't know what VeggieTales is, it's an animation where the vegetables talk. That was our life when we had kids. That was our entertainment. So anyway, we have the asparagus cooking. The rice is finishing up over there. We've already got our strawberries over here coming together, and our cake is already done. Guys, you're going to love what we're going to do next. We're going to start on the salmon, which is my favorite part. I'm going to talk to you about the salmon before we get started. You have wild salmon and you have farm-raised salmon. I have two really nice pieces of salmon right here. So the difference between wild salmon and farm-raised salmon, wild salmon is actually pink because of its environment, where the farm-raised salmon is actually going to be injected with some type of dye. So it's really good. So when you go to your local butcher or local seafood monger, ask them to give you a really good thick piece of salmon, which is what we got here. We're going to start cooking that salmon. I'm just going to pull out one of my skillets down here, big enough to support that. We're going to get it hot. Put a little olive oil in it. It's very important whenever you're cooking in a skillet, make sure it's hot. You don't want to cook in a cold skillet. We say that often, and I'll keep saying it. Now, there's a couple of different ways. You can leave the skin on the salmon and start off with it skin down, and then when you flip it over, you can peel that skin right off. I'll show you that on one of them, but on the other one, I'm going to go ahead and show you another technique. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut the skin off the salmon. You have to have a very sharp knife when you do that, and you don't want to cut yourself. And you don't want to cut into the meat because you've paid a lot of money for that meat. So we're just going to cut it, and we're going to see how we do. We're going to keep your fingers kind of going up at an angle because you don't want to cut yourself. See if I still got it. I don't know. It's been a minute since I've done this. In a minute. Let's see. I think it looks pretty good, guys. So let's just throw that to the side. My skillet's getting very hot. I'm going to go ahead and season up my salmon. So I'm going to start off with a little salt. Right here. A little bit more salt. Season the other side of this one. Right here. And then I'm going to crack a little pepper on it. I don't want to put on too much seasoning on top of the salmon because I actually want to be able to taste the natural flavors of the salmon. You can do it blackened. You can put a little Old Bay on that salmon. See if this is hot. Sounds hot. So I'm going to put it in there. That's definitely hot. I'm going to take the other one, and like I said, the other one, I'm going to cook it skin down. And I'll show you how to peel that skin off. So while that's cooking, I'm going to take a look at my rice over here, see how it's coming together. Hey guys, so while my salmon is cooking over here, I'm going to take another look at my rice, which is coming along really nice over here. Put it back over here. So while the rice is sitting over there, the salmon is cooking. I'm going to cook this salmon about 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes on each side. I do want that skin to get crispy though. So while it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and show you the next thing. Guys, we're going to whip up some cream for our strawberry shortcake. What's strawberry shortcake without cream? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and get it whipping. And while that's whipping, I'll talk to you about the cream. Now what the cream is actually heavy cream. And what makes it heavy cream is the fat content that's actually in the cream versus whole milk versus skim milk or 2%. Skim milk has less fat in it than whole milk, and 2% has 2% fat in it. A good heavy cream is going to have somewhere upwards of 15 to 30% fat content in it, so it's going to whip up really thick and nice. So while this is whipping, you don't want to over whip it, because if you over whip your cream, you're actually going to have butter. So I remember this one time I was cooking at this camp and I ran out of butter. So I went ahead and I whipped up this heavy cream, added a little salt into the heavy cream, added a little food coloring into the heavy cream, and guess what? I had butter. So while that's whipping, this is cooking, nice brown on it. Nice brown on it. Turn it up a little bit more. I'm gonna take a look at this. Oh, this is ready. It almost got away from me. It doesn't take long for this stuff to whip up, guys. Let's get a spoon here. Looks really good. I'm just gonna take it, keep it cold, set it in the refrigerator. Okay, so while that's chilling in the refrigerator, I'm gonna take a look at my salmon. Salmon looks really good. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over right here. And you can see the skin is almost starting to come off of it. So I'm gonna flip this one over also. And then what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go ahead and peel off a piece of that skin. And I can probably just do it by my hand. I was gonna get some tongs, but show you how simple it is. It comes right off. It's another little small piece there. And remember, I only seasoned one side of this salmon because the skin was on the other part. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little salt on the back side of it. And then I'm gonna hit it with a little pepper. Smells really good. Now, salmon is high in oils. I guess that's why I like it though. It's really good. When I eat my salmon, I like to eat it medium. I don't like to overcook it. So get this over here. All right. So the salmon is coming along. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it back over to this side here. So it's cooking. Okay, so while that's working right there, salmon's cooking, whip topping is done whipping, rice is ready, definitely. I'm gonna take a look at my asparagus. Really good. Actually, what I didn't do is, I'm gonna put a little salt and pepper on top of the asparagus. A little seasoning there. A little pepper here. I'm gonna put it back in. And it's almost ready. I'm gonna say give those asparagus probably about another 6 minutes. While your salmon is cooking, you can also use, I don't use it, but you can use a non-stick skillet. So if you wanna kind of take some of the guesswork out of it, you can use a non-stick skillet. The chances of it burning is not as great if you use that. So this right here. So while this is working, rice is done, asparagus is in the oven, cream is in there. I'm gonna go ahead, wipe off my cutting board really good. So like we have the salmon doing this thing over here. The rice is definitely done. Rice is done. Asparagus smelling really, really good. And our whipped topping is in the cooler chilling. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go ahead and take this cake out and I'm gonna do it like this. Oh wow, it came right out. We're gonna take it. I went ahead and flipped my cutting board over because I had raw fish on the other side. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut this cake for my strawberry shortcake. Just cut it right here. Looks really, oh my goodness, that's good. It's good. Let me see if I can get another knife here. I don't know if I like that knife as much. This knife is better. It's a rated knife. The right tool makes a difference. So right here. It's really good, okay? I'm gonna cut it. Obviously, we let the cake cool down just a little because if not, it will definitely fall apart on you. So like my salmon is done over there. So, cut this out right here. I'm gonna cut one more piece of cake here, up here. And I'm gonna take the extra cake and I'm just gonna seat it back into the container. And you can freeze that cake if you want to, wrap it really good and freeze it. So now that we have our cake right here, I'm gonna go ahead and pull off this salmon here. Definitely don't want it to break up. So we have the salmon here, looking nice. I'll let that one sit there. We went ahead and cut it off, so it's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and put my rice on this plate here. So I'm gonna toss it around just a little. Put a little rice here. Or a lot of rice here. So we got that sitting there. And then let's take a look at our asparagus and see what it looks like. Should be ready. Oh, it looks good. Pull it out here. Can't have enough kitchen towels. So, just gonna pull this out. Asparagus looks good. And we're just gonna take it and sit it right over here. So guys, the asparagus is looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the asparagus off, wrapped in bacon. The bacon is definitely crispy. It's good. Right here, we're just gonna put that right there. This is from me. We'll sit the extra right over to the side here. So now we have our salmon with rice, our farm-raised salmon with rice and bacon wrapped asparagus. I'm just gonna sit it right here so I can do this right here. It's up to me. I start with the dessert first. So just got this one right here. I'm gonna go ahead and take my strawberries, which is looking really good. So it's pulled a lot of the liquid out of the strawberries. So I'm just gonna stir it up, just stirring it up really good. And what sometimes I'll do is that, and you can do different things, but sometimes what I like to do is add a little vanilla extract to this. Add a little balsamic vinegar to it. But what I am gonna do, guys, just a little, I'm gonna add a little water to it. Just a little. That was probably about a teaspoon or a tablespoon rather of water. So what I'm gonna do this, stir it up a little bit more. Do this here. And I'm gonna drizzle the strawberries across the cake. Just like that, looks good. Lots of strawberries, lots of fresh strawberries. Right here. Put that to the side right here. Get our cream out, last thing that's been chilling, waiting to join the party. So, I'm gonna do this right here, or do this right here. So we got that there. So, we have our strawberry shortcake with our homemade cake, strawberries, and heavy whipped topping. Bacon wrapped asparagus with rice and salmon. Guys, this looks really good. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna break into this and I'm gonna start eating this right here. Wish you were here. Guys, remember, food is good, God is great, and every day's a gift. See you next week.